Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And this is our Game 1 NBA Finals player props video. Also got a few things we're looking at here for these players and their series markets in the finals here. So we'll take a look at some of this here. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along. We're bringing you each and every game video here in the NBA Finals, as well as these player props. Also want to make sure you're heading to thelines.com. Nate and company have some great written content up there for you. Every angle that you might need for these games in the NBA Finals. So make sure you're checking that out as well. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we have for player props here in Game 1. Nate, let's jump into it.
Yeah, I'm starting with Jayson Tatum, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, but not necessarily to go off for 29 points, which is where his scoring prop is. In fact, I like the under on his threes at to hit 3 or fewer is minus 108. That's what he's been averaging against the Dubs in the regular season. In this last series against Miami, he was only hitting 2.5 threes. With them, very much in his jersey, trying to deny him and make him a mid-range shooter. I think the Warriors will employ a similar approach to get him off that line. It will not allow him to take those sidestep threes that have become his patent during the regular season and have been pretty easy to get. But I do like over on the peripheral stats. 12.5 assist rebounds at pretty much even money. He's improved so much as a playmaker. As we know, just coming off, averaging about 6 assists per game in these playoffs, as teams, again, are overplaying him, making him a driver, and then showing him another body. And then it's up to him to make the right play. And he's been making it pretty consistently. He has 10 assists in his last 2 meetings with Golden State. He has 39 rebounds in his last 4, as the pace is usually pretty fast with Golden State, as they often go small. And so Tatum is playing the 4. Or matched up with the Warriors when they go Draymond at the 5. There's not a lot there in terms of limiting him from getting boards. And he has been scoring against Golden State in the regular season. But again, I'm not trying to target that in Game 1 of the Finals. I think they'll be all over him. But yeah, he's plus 104 to get 8 rebounds. He is minus 104 to get 12.5 assists with the rebounds. I think either one of those is a good bet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I think the under on the points and the under on the threes is just as good of a bet, to be honest. In the last 6 matchups dating back to about 3 seasons ago, he's averaging almost 29 points a game. He's only gotten 28 once. So all his points against them dating back, like I said, to about 19, 26, 27. And here's why he's averaging 29 is the 44-point blow up he had last April against this team towards the end of the season there. But other than that, no 28-point games. And that's what, despite averaging about 28, that's where his point total prop is at. He can't get there, but with the assists and rebounds combined at 12.5, he has done that about 4 of those last 5 times that he's played the Dubs. The rebounds look really, really good over the last 4. He's at 8, 9, 10, and 12 rebounds against this team. To your point, when they're going to be going small, they're fine going small with Grant Williams at the 5 too, which is just plenty more rebounds for him. And Papa Al is going to be busy boxing out Draymond the entire game, as we know. So that should leave Jayson Tatum open to get a bit more, as he'll be bigger than who's ever guarding him for the entirety of this series, standing at a nice 6'10". And so I like all of that. And then I also like the under on the threes, just because that Dubs 3-point defense is also top 3 in the league. So I'm going to move on to Klay, who we saw have a true Klay game in Game 5 to close out the Mavs, which you called and said, I know we talk about Game 6 Klay, but this is similar. He's at home in a Game 5 closeout, a game that they really do need and want to get some rest for their guys, and they got it. He's at 20.5 points, which is about minus 106 there, so close to even money at FanDuel. If you do like the Dubs to win in this one, which I talked about in that game video, I do feel really good about 20 in a win for Klay, plus 170 at FanDuel. I think that's worth it, to get that extra juice there versus just the points. Like I said, closed out Dallas with 32 points. points, making 8 for 16 from 3, which is what it's going to come down to for him. Also closed out Memphis with 30 on 8 for 14 from 3. So he's in there. The Klay that we all know in the playoffs and are amazed by is still around for sure. And I think, you talk about, you spoke about this in the game video, that in the last time that the C's played these Celtics, these Warriors, and Steph got hurt, but they were shutting him down for the first 14, 15 minutes that he was in the game before he left in the second quarter. And I think that's the same thing you look for here, is them face guarding Steph and just going like, we're so afraid of this dude. Like we got to make sure the ball's not in his hands, and that once it's out of his hands, he's not getting it back. Right. So I think, Klay to hit a number of threes tonight is really what you're looking for, so that you can sort of get him to, he's going to be finding those open spaces that are left by the guys who are face guarding Steph in this one. Plus 108 to hit 4 threes. You could talk about plus 440 for him to hit 5 threes in a win. I just told you about 2 games in the last 8 games that he's played where he hit 8 3-pointers made. So it's not like it's that crazy. I definitely feel like I'm going to go ahead with the 20 in a win for him. And then the plus 440, 5 threes in a win also might as well, feel pretty good about that one as well. If he's getting 20 points, he's probably got 5 or 6 threes, right?
Right. I mean, that's kind of the blueprint for the Warriors' success, or their ability to counter this overplaying of Steph Curry, which I think we'll see all series. Miss Marcus Smart and Derek White chasing Steph around, trying to get the ball out of his hands. And then it's up to the Warriors to capitalize from there when they have an advantage. And then it really comes down to, can Klay be a volume scorer? Can he hit multiple threes and score? And so for him to lead this series in 3-pointers over Steph, who has not really been getting off, against Dallas and Memphis, they've been doing the same thing, chasing him off the line. Plus 425 for Klay on the series here. I mean, you could also bet him to average over 20 for the series, I believe. And that's what the Warriors really need. And plus 160 in game one for him to outscore Jaylen Brown, I think is worth a look, because Jaylen pretty inconsistent, to be honest. And I don't know how he will come out in game one here. Staying with the Warriors, but looking at another under here, because we expect this game to go under. Why not take some unders? And Draymond, not a guy who's going to really be trying to score that much either. We talked about that Dallas series a little bit in the game video, how they went small quickly and had no rim protection. And I've talked about how they were basically daring Draymond to be a scorer. So he was filling it up a little bit, but still in these playoffs, he's averaging under 9 points per game with 6 assists. So 14.5 points assists is at his average. But this is a Celtics team that allows the fewest assists per game in the NBA all year, and on the road in these playoffs, allowing 19 assists per game, forcing 12.5 turnovers. It's just not a lot of dimes to go around. So I do like taking the combo more than just straight under 5.5 assists for Draymond, which is plus money because he is more of a facilitator than a scorer. I don't think he's going to be able to score nearly as easily against the Celtics with Williams, either Williams or Horford back there. They're not just going to give him opportunities like Dallas was in his last 8 against regular season games against Boston. He's averaging 5.5 points on 34% field goal shooting. So the 8.5 points, if you do like that, it's slightly worse odds than when you throw in the assists, because he is capable of handing out 7 to 9 dimes, even if he's not scoring. Either one of those is good for me, as I don't expect Draymond to do a lot of heavy lifting on offense.
No, that's fair. I mean, the only thing that scares me about the assists for Draymond is the likelihood that, Steph's getting doubled right away. And then Draymond needs to, sort of be his outlet so that he can get the ball and play that 4-on-3, in which case now he's looking for either, a guy like Kuminga or even Looney in the dunker spot, or, obviously looking off in the opposite wing for 3. And that's where he'll get some of his assists. But to your point, this is a good play for, hitting some unders if you do like the total under, which we do. And, Draymond needs to impact the game on offense as well, for them to get a lot of points. And I don't think that's going to be the case for him in this one. We'll see. I'm really, really intrigued to see the type of play that Draymond has right away. Is he looking to get a few buckets here and there and surprise the Celtics and make sure that they need to guard him, which is something he could try to establish right away? Not saying he's going to make a lot of those shots. I'm just saying he needs to shoot them to make them at least think he's a threat. We'll see how he fares in game one. I think that'll be a really telling sign of how he's going to continue to play in this series. So I'm going to finish things off here with a C's player in Marcus Smart, who has really grown on me, man. I've come to really like this dude, honestly. I used to think he was a little bit too shenanigans heavy, but I think watching him in a series against Kyle Lowry, who made his shenanigans look non-existent with how much just silliness that Kyle Lowry was bringing, Marcus Smart looked like just a total choir boy compared to him in this one. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and look at his anywhere points, rebounds, assists, points and assists. I'm taking the points and assists because it's 20.5. Which is close to what I think he could score. I think he'd get close to 18, 19 points, honestly. And it's minus 115 on DraftKings, which is a little bit better than if you add the rebounds, which gets you to only about 24.5. But that's minus 120. I don't think you need the rebounds in here. I think the 20.5 points and assists is enough for Marcus Smart. The points is at 14.5, but I think you might as well add the assists and keep it in the juice is the same. I do also like the threes for him. 2.5 3-pointers made. I mean, it's high for sure, but it's plus 115 on DraftKings. And look, he's averaging about 8 attempts from three in the playoffs. On the road, he's averaging 2.8 3-pointers made on 38%. His usage rate goes up a bit on the road. It's gone up in the playoffs as well. He's averaging 17 and 7 in terms of points and assists in 36 minutes per game in these playoffs as well. Gets you well over the 20.5 points and assists combined. And he loves playing against Golden State. And like we said in the game video, he's going to play whenever Steph is on the floor. He's probably going to be on the floor as well. There are not going to be very many minutes where Marcus Smart is not in there if Steph is on the floor, and Steph's been getting 40 to 42 minutes when needed. So his last 5 versus them, we're talking about 18 points and 6.5 assists, which once again gets you over that 20.5 points and assists. And he was only doing that in 33 minutes a game. He's getting a bit more there. Actually shooting 48 from the field and 44% from three with 3.8 about 4 threes made in his last 5 matchups against these dubs. So I think he's the beneficiary of being open off of all the attention that the Jalen and Jayson combo are going to get. He's going to continue to play like that in the playoffs. And if he's making, I think he'll have a couple threes in the first half, and we'll just need one more that we'll be sweating out in the second half from him.
Yeah, I like the points. Like you said, if you think 20.5 points assists is good because the points are going to carry you there. 14.5 points. I think he's going to be doing a lot of work down low, to be honest, trying to make Steph work, trying to give him some early bruises in this series because he is so much stronger than Steph Curry, and because the Celtics know their advantage is size at every position, particularly at the point guard position. And Smart, yeah, you nailed it. He's the reason the Celtics have given the Warriors so much trouble in the regular season. So he's going to be out there. He's going to be doing all his antics or his firing up his team, whatever you want to call it, based on that. And yes, thank you for mentioning Kyle Lowry, the insufferable, taking the crown from Chris Paul as the most annoying player in the NBA. Have a nice offseason, sir. Random props Definitely. I will throw out just before we go here on DraftKings. I like Derek White to get 9 points. I think he'll be playing a lot against the Warriors. I think with the small ball lineups, that's even money for him to hit 2 threes is plus 175. Teams, Milwaukee and Miami were just daring him to shoot. He found his confidence with Miami daring him to shoot. Now he should be willing to fire away. I don't know if Golden State's going to have the same approach, but you just need him to hit 2. And I kind of like the under for Horford at 10 points. I think he's going to be doing, like Draymond, a lot more than scoring, not even really thinking about his offense. And the pace of this game doesn't really suit his skill set. I mean, he's not going to get those open threes like he was against Milwaukee, and he's not a driver to kind of thrive in the space and pace type of game. So under for Horford points, over for Derek White points, maybe soaking up some of those minutes.
Yeah, really fair. Too bad you can't get screen assists or box outs, successful box outs as a stat, because Horford will be doing plenty of that in this series. But to your point, he's not going to be standing wide open on the 3-point line nearly as often as you saw him doing in the last 2 series. Derek White will, by the way. I think that is, to your point, he's going to be in there on that small ball lineup with his size at guard. But, so plenty of minutes for him. And I do think there'll be a good amount of shot attempts as well. I did call him having a good game in that that game 7. And I think he continues to get close to 9 to 10 points each and every game that he plays, with a couple made threes. So I think that's a good bet as well. Very, very last thing. I still believe Kyle Lowry is a very good basketball player. I just, he every time they needed a big shot, it did seem like he came through and just willed them to get 2 more points. That being said, I will not miss watching him in the NBA playoffs either. This is going to be a beautiful series, and I can't wait for it. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. Continue to follow along and like and subscribe with us. We're bringing you each and every game with a playoff finals game here with a game video, as well as these player props. So until we see you next, happy betting.